all the way to red line. As you can see there, it just held it just a little bit too long before it did its simulated shift. But hey, you know, it did have a simulated shift that was pretty crisp. Well, good day everybody, and welcome to this 2022 Nissan Rogue Sport. Now, I haven't driven a Nissan in quite a while. The only Nissans I've driven in the past 5 years have been the ones with the old CVT. So things like the Ultima, the terrible Versa, I think the original Rogue, you know, all those things left such a displeasure regarding how that CVT drove. I've been avoiding getting in Nissans for quite a while. However, I decided to try out this 2022 Rogue Sport because it has the updated CVT from a couple years ago, and so far, so good. After spending over a week in this car, I think this does deserve a look. Yeah, so the Rogue Sport slots down one size from the regular Rogue. I think it's perfectly sized, but you know, classic shape. I should mention that this is the base model. This is the S trim, which is actually kind of cool because we need base trim cars, and this is only, I think with destination and everything, you're talking about $26,000. So let's just hop in the passenger seat. Take a look at this interior over here. Again, this is just a really nice car to step into. The ride height is just perfect. Again, that's why you're buying these small subcompact crossovers. Is easy to get in and out. Sitting here in the passenger seat, very comfortable, very airy cabin, great visibility. Gotta run from the mosquitoes. But what I like about this base model is that they actually give you 17-inch, pretty attractive alloy wheels, which is, you know, something you don't get on all base models. Take a look in the back. Pretty spacious back here. There's some tricks they give you with upper trims to make this floor height, floor height a little higher, and also gives you a flat load forward. But like all cars, this has a pretty, you know, all cars in this class, this has a nice spacious interior. You do have a full, not just a donut, you have a full-size spare under there, which is pretty cool. Hopping in the back seat, another nice thing, easy in, easy out. Very easy to step into this back seat here, and you know, 2 cup holders, and you do get some vents back here. So all in all, I do like this base model fabric. It's a little fabric-y to my taste, but you know, pretty pleasant looking for a base trim car. But the fact they give you vents down here is pretty nice. Everything back here, you can see these are just pretty decent lighting back here. What's interesting is up here, they give you nice LED lights here. There aren't any lights on the visors, and then both visors do slide like that. A little bit of a sunglass, you do have a sunglass holder there. And yeah, just a pretty attractive interior. Just, you know, Nissan, you know, does a pretty decent job in their cars as far as giving you sort of a, not a super upgraded look, but it definitely does not look cheap in here for a base model. Easy step in. This base model does not come with things like heated seats. There's no power seats. Comes with the basic safety features. You know, lane keep warning. It does not steer you in the lane. You have to go to the upper trims to get sort of the Pro Pilot stuff that Nissan offers. But this is perfectly fine. Emergency braking. You have a decent. You probably can't see it with the sun down here. Have a decent backup camera with steerable guidelines, which is pretty nice. Overall, this infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, hooks up very well. Decent screen. Again, I got you can see the sun. Let me try to get that off there. Anyway, not a quick responding screen. It's a little laggy, but does the job. You know, no complaints. Got a basic 6-speaker stereo in here. Really nice storage in the center compartment. You have one USB, regular USB there. You get one USB down here. You do have an aux input, and a pretty tiny glove box, but it is damped. Nice high vents up here. Again, this is a little bit low when you're driving. Again, this does not have dual auto climate or any auto climate at all. Just your good old manual stuff, but the knobs feel pretty good. Nothing cheap about them. And Nissan gives you these huge buttons for Where do you want the air flow? Rear defrost, just easy. Nissan likes the orange theme, and it just does the job. Like I said, I hadn't been in a Nissan in quite a while, and have been pretty impressed. Steering wheel, this is your base wheel. It's not leather, but it's a very agreeable plastic, so actually feels pretty good. Basic gauges, and you got some stuff in the middle where you can check your tire pressure, fuel economy, all those good things. Now, a couple weird things down here. This emergency brake pedal is really high up, but you have to get to that. So just basic emergency brake, kind of like that. And then you have your sport mode and eco mode buttons down here, which is a little odd, but not a big fan of these buttons, but they all do the job. They're pretty basic, just like any other car's layout. What else do I like in here? Oh, I like the fact that how high up this mirror adjustment is. You don't have to go hunting for this to adjust your side mirrors. You have auto down on the driver's side, and then all the other windows are pretty regular. You can see you got a couple nice cup holders here sitting in the middle. Taking a look at the key fob real fast. Basic switchblades type, solid, small, does the job. Again, we need cars like this. Now, under the hood, we're talking about Nissan's direct injected 2-liter. Not a lot of power, 140 some. I'll put the numbers up there somewhere on the screen. And then not a lot of torque either. So this is very comparable to everything else in the segment, other than something like the Mazda CX-30. Okay, driving the Rogue Sport. So a few things I really do like about this car. First of all, this is a really quiet car. Nissan has probably done one of the best jobs of keeping this engine and this cabin really quiet. The other thing that you're not going to find that in this class. Very quiet, very pleasant to drive car. The other thing I really like about this car is solidity. It does not feel like you're driving a very small, subcompact crossover. Look at LA down there. Wow, don't see a clear day like that too often. But anyway, yeah, really solid feeling car. Actually has a nice rugged feeling to it, which is again, if you go to the HRV review that I did, again, on the older generation, that felt like a little bit like a tin can. So those two things I really like. You set up really, step in height is perfect, but when you get in here, you feel like you're actually setting up in like a real crossover. I mean, you would not know you're in a subcompact. This actually feels like a compact, and I actually like sitting in this more than something like the Ford Escape, as far as outward visibility and driving. So really like the size, really like how solid this feels. Now, driving, as far as suspension, I have nothing to say about it other than Nissan has dialed it in really well. They emphasize comfort, but just kind of going around these turns here, not really fast. There's really little body roll, and they've done a nice job of balancing the body roll and the handling. Bumps are you kind of feel the bumps, but pretty much smooths them out. And again, with this quiet cabin, no impacts get in. There's nothing harsh. There's no crashing over bumps. So really impressive on how Nissan has balanced handling, ride comfort, and then overall body roll. So we have had this out on the highway, so let's cut away to the highway portion right now. Okay, as we work our way over to the highway, one thing to point out is that this CVT 2-liter combo, and just driving around sort of in an urban environment, it actually feels pretty peppy. Anytime you're on the throttle, like 50%, 25%, it actually feels pretty peppy. Now, as we get on the highway, when you really want to give it, when you really want it, that's where you realize that this, you see that you got 140 some horsepower, and but in 90% of your driving, which is in that urban kind of environment, yeah, it actually feels pretty peppy, which is a little crazy, actually. All right, so zooming. But not bad. I mean, it's one nice thing about accelerating with this CVT is it does simulate the gear changes. And the engine doesn't sound like it's going to explode. There's nothing unpleasant. It doesn't really feel like it's working that hard. So, that goes a long way for making a pretty good driving experience. Now, the other thing I will mention is that this specific Rogue Sport has, 16,000 miles on it, and there's no rattles in here. The interior looks like it's holding up really, really well. And pretty durable. It's just one of those cars you feel like you could just, hop in it. Don't worry about washing it. Kind of mistreat it a little bit. It's just kind of got that rugged feeling. Now, as far as highway travel, here we go again, giving her the beans. You hear that lane departure warning. Yeah. Okay, got it up here to 75. I've noticed that it doesn't like to be below 2,000 as it's sort of cruising in that 70 to 80 mile per hour range. It'll be between 2,100, 2,500, but that's a CVT. It's always kind of going up and down a little bit. Really, really quiet. I'm not talking loud. I'm kind of talking in my normal voice out here as we cruise along. So this is a subcompact CUV that I could take a trip in for hours and hours and hours. Very, very pleasant trip car. Very nice out here on the highway. Hopefully that's coming through as far as just road noise. Wind noise is probably the best thing. It's very good. There's no buffeting over the mirrors or anything. So very, very impressed with that. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and keep working it here to get out onto the highway into this traffic. Pretty rough pavement here. So doing a good job with road noise. Steering is stiffens up a little bit. Definitely speed sensitive steering and pretty nice. So overall gas mileage for this is a 2-wheel drive Rogue Sport, and it says 32 on the highway, 26, 27 around the city. Again, I'll put those numbers up, and then 28 overall. I've been really mostly urban driving, a little bit of highway driving, and I'm not doing very well at all. I've been, as you can see on the computer there, about 21, but it's mainly stop and go city driving. So so great trip car, very comfortable, very quiet, and I think that's one of the hallmarks of the Rogue Sport. So let's go ahead and get back to the mountains. Yeah, so really, really comfortable out on the highway. So as far as brakes go, yes, it's a mushy pedal. They're a little bit grabby, but after a few days of driving this, you kind of get the muscle memory down, and you kind of dial it in. But really soft pedal. As far as overall braking, hard braking, we'll do a little bit of that now. It's okay. There's really, kind of grabby brakes, but as far as I know, the braking is fine. Nothing there that's outstanding or to complain about. And the steering is, yes, it's on the light side, but what I have found is that the steering is fairly precise, very comfortable steering. I think that's the best way to describe the steering. And then as far as the overall handling of this car, it's a very pleasant handling car. It's not one of these cars where you're going to go around some of these turns and you're going to get a little nervous. It feels really good, and yes, it's not a sport at all, but I again, just really, really surprising how Nissan has dialed this in to be just a great everyday driver. Okay, let's go ahead and do something that nobody's going to do in their Nissan Rogue. We're going to put this in sport mode. We're going to pop this over to manual shifting, and we're going to do this uphill dig. A little bit of a rolling start. Okay, now the shift direction is opposite, so forward is upshifting and back is downshifting. Nobody's going to do that, but I will tell you the CVT manually shifts pretty fast. So just cruising along here, let's go ahead and do a downshift. yeah, it's pretty quick if you want to manually shift your Nissan Rogue. Upshifts are quick. Again, these are all just simulated gears, but it does hold it in this manual mode. So yeah, pretty decent as far as the quickness of the CVT. Let's go ahead and put it back over into regular. We'll keep it on sport here. That way we can capture some sound. Very willing to rev engine, pretty quiet and smooth, and yeah, not bad as far as overall refinement. So now it will sit at the top RPM just for a little bit longer than I would like before it does its simulated upshift as you're accelerating, but a huge improvement over what Nissan has in the past. So I would imagine this is in all their cars now, and I can see why, you know, some of the reviews out there that I've seen on Nissans, you know, have generally been much more favorable as far as, you know, how these are to drive with this CVT. Well, there you have it, the Nissan Rogue Sport. Just hop out with final thoughts. Yeah, if I were in this class of car, the compact or subcompact crossover, I would not have had the Rogue Sport on my radar based on my past experiences with the Nissan CVT. But if I were shopping in this class, I would definitely put this on your list. Again, you can't beat the looks of this thing. You can't beat how it drives. Again, I would say that the CX-30 from Mazda is the best driver in this class. However, this is going to give you a little bit more room and space, and it's going to probably be a little bit cheaper. You do have the Seltos, which is excellent. I would put this above the outgoing generation of the Honda HR-V. I'm really curious if Nissan has straightened out the reliability with the CVT, because they have straightened out its drivability. It's very, very pleasant to drive and no complaints about it, at least from my perspective at all. Any complaints? Not really. Don't like the mushy brake pedal. I think the engine revs are a little high out on the highway, but man, other than that, no complaints. So very impressed with this Nissan Rogue Sport. If you own one of these, would love to hear about your experience. If you're thinking about buying one of these and you have a question, please leave a comment below. So again, thanks for watching today, and have a great day, morning or evening, wherever you may be.